What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams Star Wars, the Stankonian ambassador, and I'm back. Hold up. Wait. I'm looking a little bit scruffy. We're going to have to do something about this. Hold on, we'll be right back. All right, we're back, and that's much better. I don't look like nobody cares about me. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be continuing down the rabbit hole that we were on yesterday. So to bring you up to speed, if you weren't paying attention yesterday, we walked down the rabbit hole of what's really going on behind lizard people. What's really going on behind a lot of things that are happening around the world. Skinwalkers, lizard people, you name it. I think it all has relation to this. And I think it's important that we touch on this. Now, I touched upon this subject if you've been following me for a long time. You know, I touched upon this 2 years ago when this all actually was going down. I probably was one of the only people in the cryptid community to ever talk about it, but I brought it to your attention because I felt like it was important. And with that being said, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, people wonder where these strange beings that we're seeing are coming from, whether it be lizard people, dogmen, Bigfoot, all these different things. I submit to you today that our government is behind it all. Every last bit of it. Everything you've seen, they are behind it. And I'm going to walk through some of the things that brought me to this conclusion with these videos. And for those of you who don't know me, I have been in the cryptid field for 9 years. I've done over 327 interviews at this point in time, or 337 interviews at this point in time. Pretty sure it's 37 interviews at this time. Talked to over 1,000 eyewitnesses on the phone, took their stories. My research is public. You can look up Dogman 101, 102, 103, and 104. And I've done a deep dive into all this, and it just didn't make any sense. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So my premise is this. There's lizard people, real lizard people that are in control. And they're doing everything in their power to make sure that they ruin this planet and control humanity. Now, whether you say a lizard person is an actual lizard or a demon or a demonic entity, they could be interchangeable. I mean, some people won't go for lizards, some people will go for demons, some people will go for elites. I think it's all interchangeable. Clearly, there's something lizardy about the whole situation. So right now, I'm focused on the lizard aspect of it. I'm focused on their lizard asses. You heard me? But clearly, there's something else going on as well. Now, chimeras. I was trying to find everything I could find about chimeras. The only thing I was able to find was this guy talking about it. Now, he was doing it as a form of satire, telling the truth with satire, which is the way you actually get the truth out. Most people think you just tell the truth and say, yeah, those people over there are a bunch of lizards. People are going to look at you like you're crazy. But nonetheless, here we go.
Evolve using human embryos. For example, scientists have tested drugs on mice with humanized livers to predict how a regular human might react. The National Institutes of Health, the U.S. government agency in charge of biomedical and public health research, had put a ban on funding research with certain types of human-animal chimeras. Recent experiments have created...
Stop, pause. Point I want to make to you right now. The man just said they put a ban on certain types of research with human-animal chimeras. Was that you know? They've been busting this move for quite some time. And they've been researching for quite some time. This is a stopgap measure of them trying to hold people accountable on the back end. So it means that people been doing it, and now they're saying, hold on. We need to put a stopgap measure in place because somebody done found out about something that was created that they ain't really like. I mean, it's just me translating it from his language to Negroese and explaining it to you. They done did something that done caught somebody's attention, and they saying, hold on, bro, you can't be out here in these streets doing this. We got to try and find a way to dial it back, or at least make it seem like we dialing it back.
Created human chimeras made with pigs, sheep, mice that are 4% human, and even elephant seals. The International Society for Stem Cell Research has released new guidelines to allow the study of human embryos for longer than 14 days. The chair of the task force that wrote the guidelines say it's both difficult and pointless to propose any new limit. Senator Mike Braun says human life is distinct and sacred, and research that creates chimeras should be completely prohibited. Senator James
Stop. I'm gonna tell you like this. If you're in a lab, I told y'all yesterday about the test tube babies, and I said they've probably been making test tube babies. Clearly, they've been making test tube babies. So here's the dilemma that we're facing. And this is what happens when you have those big brain scientist people who have no connection to the world doing things unsupervised. My background is in engineering. I can consider myself to be a big brain, but not quite of a big brain as those people. But here's what I do know about big brain people. Megamind people. They are completely and totally disassociated and detached from society. For example, I'm a big brain engineer, but I still go to the hood to get my hair cut. And when I walk into the hood to get my hair cut, there's no misconceptions, there's no confusion about the state of America, about the state of the country. Because somebody, they got yellow tape out there. They got yellow tape up the street. So when you ride past yellow tape to go get your hair cut, you know it's real out here in these streets. When you go into the barber shop, you open the front door and that marijuana smoke busting your nose, everybody in there laughing, clowning, and joking. And then when you really listen to what they're talking about, they explain about how their auntie died and how their cousin passed away and how they're having problems paying their bills. You understand, you can have the biggest brain you want, but you understand that humanity is still suffering. But what ends up happening is these big brains, they get in these labs. Ain't nobody there but them. Y'all need somebody like me in the lab, because I smack the crap out of you. Like, why are you splicing that? Pow! I'm talking about, pow! Not like this. You just turn that wrist, pow! Smack the piss out of them. Be like, you need to calm down. What you doing? How you think this is going to affect the whole entire world? But nobody in there to slap them. That's the problem. So they playing God. That's what they're doing. They're playing God. Now some of y'all gonna be like, there's no such thing as God. Shut your ass up. I don't care what you believe. They playing God. Straight up, that's what they're doing. And people trying to push back on.
Langford says researchers should focus on valuing the dignity of human life, not trying to genetically merge and manipulate humans and animals. Senator Steve Daines says we shouldn't become like China by failing to recognize the distinct value of humans over animals.
Oh, he just snitched on China. He just snitched on China. So here you go. Now you know. China definitely been doing it. Y'all know what that they were saying that came out of. They said it came out of Wuhan. So what I'm saying is this: China been doing it. China been doing it. And I dare to say this. I guarantee you, if you keep going down this rabbit hole, you'll find out that the black budget funding for probably what's going on in all kind of other places came from your damn tax dollars, right out your wallet. While you paying $13 for gas, $17.7 for eggs, $19.12 for bacon. They're just sending your money over there to make humans, to make animals, to make monsters. Yeah, they're making monsters. That's what they're doing. They're making monsters.
Braun also slammed the International Society for Stem Cell Research for providing guidance that loosen restraints on human embryo research.
These Negroes want to loosen. This is crazy.
Violations would result in either 10 years imprisonment, a $1 million fine, or both. 48 Republicans.
No. 10 years in prison ain't gonna get it. Mega brains need to have life in prison, and they need to have everything taken from them. No fines, just life in prison. Matter of fact, the mega brains that's doing this need to be executed. Let's just go with it like that.
Republicans supported the amendment, but 49 Democrats and independents voted against it.
It's the most.
So basically, the bill didn't pass. The bill didn't pass. So guess what? They tried to pass the bill in the Senate, and it didn't pass. If you listen to the numbers, they didn't pass the bill. So guess what? They out there wilding out in the streets over the past 2 years, unrestricted, basically on making human animal chimeras, making monsters. And then you wondering why you seeing stuff in the woods. Come on, man. You're wondering why you're seeing stuff in the woods. Then you get to talking about how everybody was running at the deep underground bases, the dumbs. The monsters are in the dumbs. I bet their asses is in the dumbs. I'm pretty sure they are in the dumbs. Now, this is a homegirl from yesterday. I finished watching that, and I found some of the things she said to be extremely interesting. And we're going to spend a few minutes looking at her. And I'll break down some of the things she said. When we get towards transhumanism, you're going to realize why 2 years ago they was defending these laws. Now, she had this talk that she did it 7 years ago. So 7 years ago, she was talking about transhumanism and how the government, DARPA itself, the big brains of the government, were experimenting with transhumanism. This was 7 years ago. This was the results of her research and her conversations that she put into a book. I just surmised that it took her maybe about 2 years to get to that point. So you go 7 years back, and then you go 2 years beyond that. We talking about 9, almost 10 years ago. She was in labs with them looking at the stuff they're doing. Fast forward, talking about 12, 13 years possibly now. And only 2 years ago did they get to the point to where they said, hey, maybe we need to put a stop to some of this stuff. And they didn't do it. They didn't do it.
Most powerful, most productive military science agency in the world. And it's also one of the least reported on.
DARPA.
DARPA does many great things. It, of course, created the internet, originally called the ARPANET. Because of DARPA, we have GPS technology, sensor technology. But DARPA's mandate, as was instructed to Congress when DARPA was created in 1958, is to create vast weapon systems of the future.
For those of y'all who missed it yesterday, that's why I'm recapping this. DARPA makes weapon systems. It's very important that you understand this. So everything that she's talking about moving forward is in the context of a weapon system, right? She's going to talk about the internet. That means the internet is a weapon system. She talked about cell phones. That means the cell phones is a weapon system. GPS, weapon system, all right? So I need you to understand everything is in the context of a weapons system. We talked about this yesterday. This for the people who just tuning in.
DARPA has also done its job to create this very powerful, almost omnipotent military industrial.
Stop. She just used the word omnipotent, godlike. I just told you these people try and play God. Just want to bring that out to you.
Industrial complex that is forever creating new weapon systems once the weapon systems become public and the enemy creates that same weapon system.
So basically, big brain DARPA uses a weapon. It becomes public. Other people figure out what we're doing because they got it used on them. And then they figure out they're going to do it them damn selves. And then DARPA rolls on to the next one. So it rolls out a weapon, destroys people and things. Other people figure out what they're doing. Other countries figure out what we've done. They use the same weapon to destroy people, places, and things. And then DARPA rolls out the next one.
Surprisingly,
that's just translated to Negro.
They aren't really familiar with this. I mean, there's a lot of talk about, wow, what if? When in fact, this is dogma at the Pentagon. And you can read about it in their unclassified reports that talk about DARPA's plans and the Pentagon's plans for drones and autonomous warfare. So if those who are advising the Pentagon how to proceed and which vast weapon systems of the future to create are the very individuals who are responsible for creating and...
See? Big brains everywhere. I just told you, mega mind, big brains, not connected to society whatsoever.
And selling those vast weapon systems of the future, then you have that closed loop that Eisenhower warned against.
And with that, it's almost a conscience.
DARPA calls it transhumanism, military transhumanism. But in an interesting way, this is actually part and parcel of the whole movement towards robotics. Total information awareness program. And that was this idea to use sensor technology to monitor American citizens, to look at their credit card transactions, to look at the library books they take out, to monitor who they're talking to try and create with computers which are now very sophisticated and algorithms which have gotten
What your boy said yesterday. I'm not lying to you when I tell you I didn't watch this whole thing yesterday, bro. I only grabbed that snippet. What your boy told y'all yesterday? I told y'all that these algorithms was a weapon. The same damn algorithm that I'm talking to you through right now that allowed me to get to you. And I know it's a weapon because there's times that they won't allow me to get to you. The same damn algorithm is a weapon. In fact, that little box you're looking at me on right now, I don't know if it's a box in your hand, if it's a box mounted on your wall, if it's a box you got laying in your lap, if it's a tablet box that you're holding with your two thumbs, that's a damn weapon. You understand? You heard me? It's a weapon. I said this yesterday. I just want to make sure we understand this. Now, let me say this. Transhumanism, meaning the melding of humans and machines. Yesterday, you heard Shorty right here talking about them taking a moth and putting the technology in the larva, so when the moth got to be grown, they could fly the moth around, right? So don't it make all the sense in the world that if you needed, I mean, really, like, let's say you really, really needed to track down somebody in them woods, don't it make all the sense in the world that you would develop some kind of animal that you could control that's part human, part wolf, part human, part bear, part human, part bird, and then you control that thing while it goes through the woods and wreaks all kind of havoc? Don't it make perfect sense based on this? Yeah, it make perfect sense to me. Make all the sense in the world to me. Then you add in the reptilians. You add them in, spraying stuff to blot out the sun so the planet could be warmer, right? Because the reptiles like stuff hot. Bro, I'm just trying to tell you, man. Everybody be talking that conspiracy theory stuff. Use a tard.
Much more sophisticated with help from NSA, etc., to then use this system of systems to find not the Ho Chi Minh fighter on the trail, but rather the terrorist among us. DARPA had created.
So they want to use the system to find a terrorist among us. But the term terrorist is a label that's applied to people. You see what I'm saying? Terrorist is ambiguous. It's got to be applied to a certain group of people, a certain looking person, a certain talking person, a certain walking person, a certain person with a certain set of beliefs. That's what becomes a terrorist. You hear me? Now, of course, there are terrorists that run around and blow people up with bombs. Those do exist. You know what I'm saying? They be wilding. But also, it's just such a broad scope when you start just throwing that word around.
Agent Orange during the war, DARPA set about this sprawling program where it hired anthropologists and social scientists to go into the field to conduct interviews to try and find out what made the Viet Cong tick.
Social scientists. For a second, what do you think social science is? Social science is the study of how societies interact and how people interact. Social scientists go in around the time of Vietnam, and now we got what's called social media, which is a vast network that allows them to monitor everyone. This is making me want to delete all my social media the more I think about it. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Press office does a great job of getting those kinds of stories out so that the citizenry is aware of, what the agency is capable of.
So
no one else is willing to fund limb regeneration technology that may pay off in 25 years. DARPA, seems to be entering into arenas way before the public even knows about them.
Oh, hell yeah, they're in arenas way before the public knows about them. She kind of dry snitching on DARPA. She doing it in a safe, very smart way. In a cute, safe, smart way. But she dry snitching on them. Like, she dry snitching on them. The way she phrasing things, she ain't really telling on them, but she telling on them. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the police roll up on you, be like, hey, man, you know who shot that dude up the street? Man, I don't know nothing about who shot that dude up the street, but I saw somebody run that house over there. Dry snitching. That's what she doing.
Congress, that's one of hundreds of documents that different congressional committees have to look at. GPS technology, because everyone knows about it. We all use GPS. That is a DARPA technology. I think the most interesting one, and the one that I know about to the greatest degree, is the CIA's DARPA. It's called IARPA.
She just snitched on the CIA. Said they got their own DARPA. Did y'all know there was an IARPA? I didn't know there was an IARPA.
This agency functioned exactly as it was supposed to, and how little waste there was. So there's this idea of how important that human with a conscience is, which is why when we come to the end of the book and you learn about artificial intelligence, you really have to stop and say, wait a minute, a thermonuclear weapon may be indefensible against, but it can't launch itself.
Amen, sister. That's what I'm talking about. You're damn right. It can't launch itself. So somebody got to hit that button. And see, that's what I was saying yesterday. Even the worst of the worst human being ain't willing to do certain things that a robot will just do. It ain't gonna launch itself. They're gonna need somebody that, if you got a human now, that's got to hit that button. Y'all seen all the movies where the dude got the military briefcase and you got to turn the two keys and they're sitting there timing it. Okay, we're going to turn the key, punching the code. They crack open a little thing. They got the code. They punch it in, and they hesitating to turn the keys because that human gonna sit there and say, "Hold on, man. If we turn these keys, the whole world gonna come to an end. It's gonna all get turned over to the lizards because they could deal with that. We can't." So the human gonna say, "Hold on, man. I got a mama. I got a daddy. I got a sisters, brothers, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, godchildren. Do I want to destroy everything?" And then they're going to sit down and they're going to say, "Hold on, man, we need to talk this out. We don't need to blow everything up. Maybe we need to stab it out, shoot it out, box it out, talk it out, but we don't need to blow everything up. But if you can get that computer, boy, if you can get that computer to do it, ooh, we all dead. Yes, sir, we all gone."
Everybody has a different role, and everybody decides for themselves with their own conscience,
Amen.
what best suits them and what action they should take. I came across a DARPA document that was produced shortly after the Battle of Mogadishu, Black Hawk Down, when DARPA suddenly realized that it had to address this idea of urban warfare. DARPA created an entire system with an enormous amount of money called Combat Zones at Sea.
Combat Zones at Sea. Combat Zones at Sea. I'm willing to guarantee you. Now, I don't have proof of this. I promise you, I don't have proof of this. But I'm willing to guarantee you. You see all them damn crime cameras all over the place? And here in New Orleans, they got a camera on every pole, but Negroes getting shot every day. But see them crime cameras with the little red and blue light? I guarantee you it's a spinoff of this Combat Zones at Sea. I promise you it is. Because they make all the sense in the world. Make all the sense in the world. That's it? Shorty done talking. Listen, I'm just jumping down a rabbit hole and I'm doing it live. That's all it is to it. And I ain't like this off the top of the dome. But what I'm saying to you is this. You see, this is why people need to have their eyes open and be paying attention. And I know people be like, "Oh, I want to see a scary story. I want to hear." Bro, this is scarier than any damn story I could ever tell you. And I could tell you some scary stories. I'm the best storyteller there is. But I'm going to tell you, this is scarier than any story I could ever tell you. This is what's happening to you right now. And this woman right here, she knew about it 9, 10, let's just make it easy, 10 years ago. Because she was in the midst of it researching it. So if 10 years ago, they were showing her controlling moths and flying moths around because they put a brain chip in a moth, what the hell is they doing right now? And mind you, they only wanted to show her a little bit. So what the hell were they really capable of doing at that point in time? That's all the Stankonia ambassador is saying to you, man. Pay attention. Wake up. Wake up. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to what's going on around you. I'm out of here, man. This is kind of disgusting, man. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? James Williams, the one and only Dark Waters, also known as the Stankonian ambassador. Let me clear my throat. Okay. So, guys, let me say this before I get to talking about this. This is a point of no return for many of you. If you want to keep your current context in place, at this point in time, you should not watch this video. If you want to like understand and just be normal, don't watch this. Because now we reached the point where I'm talking about stuff that's there's no blue pill, there's just red Skittle and red Skittle. And no red blue pill. Red Skittle, red Skittle. You heard me? So I'm gonna tell you something. I gotta get you eating my red Skittle. I ain't stopping. This mean red mean we busting through. I know you're supposed to red pill, blue pill, take the blue pill. I'm taking the red pill. This is crazy. All right, watch this. So I'm sitting here chilling, and I'm talking to my business partner, and I said, Ruach, man, I said I want to follow up on yesterday. I think I'm gonna chunk down on what we was looking at yesterday. What you think? And he says, maybe you should chunk up. I said, chunk up. Every answer ain't hitting, son. So I started looking, started digging, and I see it right there in front of me. King Lizard. The one that's telling y'all what they're doing to you. King Lizard. Right there in front of everybody. That's why I got to talk about King Lizard. So here's what I want you to understand. I might have to delete this video later for the sake of monetization, but we're going to run it right now. We're going to run it. And I'm going to start off by saying this. These people, these lizard people, they function in these closed circles where there's no one that challenges their thoughts, opinions, and ideas. Because everybody around them sees them, because everybody around them sees them as being powerful, sees them as being influential. So they function in a realm, in an echo chamber. And inside the echo chamber, everybody's like, oh my goodness, you're great, you're phenomenal, you're fantastic, blah, 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 you're awesome. And so they never, ever hear somebody tell them, kiss my black grits. I'm not going to say it because YouTube going to trip. Kiss my grits. Nobody tells them kiss my grits. So they move forward with this expectation that people should listen to them. Now, I'm just going to play it. I want y'all to hear this conversation, and I'll interject as it goes along to point out some things to you. But I need you to understand. So on the right-hand side, you got King Lizard. On the left-hand side, you got a lizard woman who wants to be down with the king.
Ideally, you have people forming up opinions and desires and then voting for a government that represents them. But we know it works both ways. The government has enormous power to shape the opinions and desires of the population, and this power only increases today with the new technologies of surveillance, mass surveillance, and social media, and so forth. So when the government can, the government is not just responsive to the will of the people. It can shape the will of the people. And this really destabilizes the democratic system. Also, the media has an enormous role to play in this. That if the government has too much control over the media, then it's not like people are forming their own independent views about what's happening. We now have the power, or at least not we, but some governments and corporations for the first time in history have the power to basically hack human beings.
Stop right there. I need you to understand something. At a first glance and first listen, this guy sounds like what he's saying is absolutely reasonable. I mean, it's obvious that that's what's going on. Now, for those of you who've been following these videos, the reason why we got to this point is because we were looking at oxytocin. We were looking at the whole entire trust movement, which we see where governments are pushing towards trust, and their focus is on bringing citizens into trusting via manipulation. That's how we got to this point. At first glance, listening to what he says, he sounds reasonable. And this is why it's important for you to listen to people. Unfortunately, on social media, everybody hears a statement and they want to just comment. You have to listen to what people are saying. He just said, we have reached the point to where And then he says, not we, governments and corporations. I'm going to rewind it and I'm going to break it down for you. And then I want you to listen for the term we as he uses it. Watch this.
Have the power, or at least not we, but some governmental system. Also, the media has an enormous role to play in this. That if the government has too much control over the media, then it's not like people are forming their own independent views about what's happening. We now have the power, or at least not we, but some governments and corporations for the first time in history have the power to basically hack human beings.
All right. Here we go. Let's go down a rabbit hole. He talks about governments. We know what he means by government. I think in order to understand what this man is saying, you need to understand what the real definition of a corporation is. I don't know if I should even go that deep into this on YouTube, but I'll say this. Corporations are not just Boeing and Coca-Cola and Windows or Microsoft. There are people who are corporations. There are family office corporations. And so there are the corporations he's talking about are people and entities that are corporations. And I know it's like, oh, DW, you tripping, you bugging. Hey, man, may the Lord reveal it to you, because I'm not about to lose my monetization trying to reveal truths to you that you probably won't research yourself. But what I'll say to you is this. This man is telling you that certain corporations, both, big office corporations and people, now control you and have the ability to hack you. And when he refers to governments, he refers to it as we, because they infiltrated governments, they have infiltrated governments, and they control government. But it ain't over. Homie is wilding. You ain't heard nothing yet. Hold on.
There's a lot of talk about hacking computers, hacking smartphones, hacking bank accounts, but the big story of our era is the ability to hack human beings. And by this I mean that if you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible.
Now, in context of the videos we've been watching, remember we watched the video about with the lizard dude in the middle that was moving his hands like this? And if we can study and if we can research and we can do this. Now you understand why they want to research all human behavior, all the way down to your infant baby. Because they want to be able to hack you and manipulate you. That's why they're stuck. Now, and understand, what entity, it ain't human. It's not like me and you that wants to completely control and hack other human beings or other people. Why would you want to do that? And you ain't heard nothing. Nothing. This man is wild. And then people say, oh, DW, you crazy because you call them lizard people. Well, if that's not a lizard behavior, what the is it? It definitely is alien. It ain't human thought processes. At least, at minimum, it's outsourced from a evil lower dimension to want to have that kind of control. But you ain't heard nothing. You about to hear? Hold on.
And in such a situation, the old democratic system stopped functioning. We need to reinvent democracy for this new era in which humans are now hackable animals.
Now, he just told you a whole bunch. We need to reinvent democracy, which means that they invented democracy. You got to listen to what people saying, man. We need to reinvent democracy for this new era where humans are hackable. The nation I live in is a constitutional republic. If I'm not mistaken, I remember being a kid with my hand over my heart. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, under God. Huh. You see what I'm saying? But you got to listen. See, and that's why the whole rollout of the short 30-second clip social media is destroying the brains of people, because you can't listen. I see it all the time when I put out a short video. I'll sit there and say something. Nobody listen to what I say because they can't hear anymore. They hear words, but they can't listen. If you listen to what I'm saying, it's a whole different thing. But if you just hear words and then run off what you think you heard, oh yeah. These lizards playing the crap out of everybody.
The whole idea that humans have, this, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will.
I'm going to rewind that so you can hear what this lizard said. Watch this. The whole idea.
The old democratic system stopped functioning. We need to reinvent democracy for this new era in which humans are now hackable animals. The whole idea that humans have, this, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will. And
listen to what the man said. This whole idea that humans, which means he's excluding himself from what's being said. He's talking about humans like there's something different than him. So when I call him a lizard person or a demon or whatever the hell you want to call him, don't look at me like I'm crazy. Because he's telling you what he is. He's telling you what he believes. This whole idea that you have a soul and that you have free will and that these ideas in your head don't exist anymore because you're hackable. Now, a nugget I'm going to drop on you. Real nugget. Everybody has a soul, but your soul don't belong to you. Your soul belongs to God who created the soul. So what these people do is they get people to sell their allegiance. You can't sell a soul because it don't belong to you. So they get you to sell your allegiance, which makes you believe that you sold your soul. And what this man is doing right now, as we speak, is convincing people to sell their allegiance towards his ideas and his concept. And he's convincing some of the most powerful people, this lizard, convincing some of the most powerful people in the world that this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to align together. And what's amazing is people are hackable. They just proved it. I mean, we could test it as a Dog Waters family. People are hackable, but that don't mean you hack them. See, that's the difference between having morals and ethics. Morally, you say, okay, it's possible, but I'm not going to do that to nobody. This is how you know these lizards don't have morals. When you listen to what they say, I'm telling you, listen. And make sure you hear what's said.
nobody knows what's happening inside me, so whatever.
Hold on, I'm going to rewind this.
And this really destabilizes the democratic system. Also, the media has an enormous role to play in this. That if the government has too much control over the media, then it's not like people are forming their own independent views about what's happening. We now have the power, or at least not we, but some governments and corporations for the first time in history have the power to basically hack human beings. There is a lot of talk about hacking computers, hacking smartphones, hacking bank accounts, but the big story of our era is the ability to hack human beings. And by this I mean that if you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible. And in such a situation, the old democratic system stopped functioning. We need to reinvent democracy for this new era in which humans are now hackable animals. The whole idea that humans have, this, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. We need to come to terms with.
This man just declared that your free will and what you choose in an election or what you eat is over. That was a declaration, a public declaration. This whole idea that whatever I choose in the election or what I eat at the supermarket is over. Are you listening to what this man is saying to you? Are you listening to what this lizard? Because that can't be no man. No man thinks that way. I mean, that's a soulless, hybrid Nephilim lizard. That's the seed of the fallen. I'm sorry. Let's just keep it real. That's what the hell that thing is right there.
The fact that no matter, again, this is where philosophy meets computer science and biology. No matter what you think ultimately is the truth of the universe, you have to realize that practically today we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale.
Pardon my language. And I'm a curse. This motherfucker say, fuck what you believe about God. You have to realize that we can hack you. I mean, real talk, that's what he said, man, fuck what you believe about God. Pardon my language, ladies and gentlemen. But I needed to hit home. I'm gonna play it again. And look in his eyes when he's saying it.
And biology. No matter what you think ultimately is the truth of the universe, you have to realize that practically today we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale. And this means we need to reinvent democracy. We need to reinvent the market. Again, the whole idea of the customer is always right. We just do whatever the customers want. Yes, but you can now hack the customers. You can manipulate the customers to want what you tell them to want. So this whole idea that corporations just serve the needs of the customers, this is over. You can't hide behind this explanation anymore.
How many of y'all know what looping is in the world of influence? Looping is when you say something 3 different ways, 3 different times in 3 different ways. Now, these snippets cut out her interactions with him because I wanted to get the highlighted snippets of the conversation, but keep it in context. But nonetheless, what you're seeing this man demonstrate is a process of called looping. And each time he's saying it in a different way, which is a form of manipulation, a very, very powerful form of manipulation. So if you run into somebody and they tell you something one way, and then they don't get the response they want, they tell you another way. It's kind of like cracking a code to a safe. You know, you have the little safe with the dial on it. You tell them one way and you turn this way, and they don't get it, and you turn this way, and you turn back that way, and then pop, you pop open the safe. What you're witnessing live is him manipulate the conversation full of manipulation. Now, the reason why it comes across so powerful is because this lizard really believes this. And I can understand how he believes it, because he ain't never been in a room with nobody who said, man, I'll smack the dog out of you. He ain't never been there. Probably never will be. Never will be. But this is how lizard people take control.
Maybe the pandemic is this disruption of a world pandemic is an opportunity for a change that we might need listening to you. Of course, after 10 months of COVID, nothing will take us back to December 19.
Now, I'm going to keep it real with you. See, if I was sitting there with that man, I'd have said, say, homie, real talk. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but who the fuck do you think you are to say that this is what it needs to be? Who made you God? Who made you ruler of humanity? You fucking lizard person? Let's start from the beginning. Who made you God? When did you die and wake up and get up? You know what I'm saying? Let's start with that. When did you resurrect from the grave, motherfucker?
But can we begin to imagine a new reality of a post-pandemic world?
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going to see. This is why I be struggling to go down these rabbit holes. I want to apologize for my language. They make me go Samuel L. Jackson. I'm serious. You just heard me go Samuel L. Jackson watching this motherfucker. See, I did it again. I mean, I can't help it. They make me go Sam Jackson. I'm tired of these mother snakes on this mother plane. I'm just telling you, man. They make me go Samuel L. Jackson.
You know, the job market, the real estate businesses, the family, the leisure culture, performing arts, everything changes right now.
Yeah, we have no choice. We need to reimagine a new future, because we can't go back to the past. It's impossible. Even before COVID.
The vaccine won't help us go to
the
the test,
vaccine
of course.
will help us, of course. It will make things, more manageable.
But it won't take the...
So basically, they broke the world. And they're telling you can't go back to what it was, because they broke it. Lizard people broke the whole economy, broke everything. And now they're giving you a solution to what they broke. And there go King Lizard. I think I'm doing real well. Not going full Sam. And that's going to be our thing. When I do go full Sam, I'm going to ask you ahead of time for forgiveness. Forgive me for my mouth. I get a little passionate when it comes to people just blatantly disrespecting everybody. You know what I'm saying? That's like standing on a corner, you smoking a cigarette, talking to your friend, and the dude just walk up and step on your shoe and just keep walking. He don't say, excuse me. He don't say nothing. Man, you slapped the lips off that boy. And he just stepped on the whole world's shoes at one time.
We can't go back. We were already in a process of rapid change, fueled by new technologies. COVID just accelerated it. Changes that we thought would take 10, 20 years, like moving a lot of courses in the university online, they happened within 2-3 weeks or 2-3 months because of COVID. But they were already underway anyway.
There's now no reason to live close to work or close to the academic center.
Yeah.
There's no, the city centers are losing their function right now.
Yeah, I mean, everything is being digitalized, everything is being monitored.
And the elderly are isolated.
You have not only the elderly, also the young.
Hold up. Let me swallow this skill. Did you see the smile on this heifer face when she said the elderly are isolated? Let's go back. She's a lizard. Watch this. This is why I say you got to be listening. That you got to see the smile on her face when she says the elderly are isolated. Who in the hell is excited about that? Watch this.
Process of rapid change, fueled by new technologies. COVID just accelerated it. Changes that we thought would take 10, 20 years,
you need to see this, watch.
Moving a lot of courses in the university online, they happened within 2-3 weeks or 2-3 months because of COVID. But they were already underway anyway.
There's now no reason to live close to work or close to the academic center.
Yeah.
There's no, the city centers are losing their function right now.
Yeah, I mean, everything is being digitalized. Everything is being monitored.
And the elderly are isolated.
You see that smile, that evil smile on her face? You see it? Let me just make it full screen. Look at that smile. Like, she's like, and the elderly are isolated. Like, we achieved all our goals that we set forth. And think about it. Literally listing out the goals. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The colleges, universities are closed. The city centers are closed. People be saying the stink on the ambassador is crazy. Let me show you her smile again. I wish I could zoom in on her. In the words of Blue. In fact, I'm going to put it to another thing and I'm going to zoom in on her. But watch this.
You have not only the elderly, also the young are isolated, and we are in the midst of a tremendous social upheaval. We can't go back, but it doesn't mean that the future has to be bad. It's often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste, because a crisis is an opportunity.
I don't mean to be smacking in your ear. Are you listening to what this man is saying? I wasn't supposed to be talking. Are you listening to what this man is saying? To what the lizard is saying to you? Well, Dog Waters is crazy. You crazy, Dog Waters. You done lost your mind. You don't know what you're talking about.
To also do good reforms that in normal times people will never agree to, but in a crisis, you see we have no chance. So let's do it. And, we can react to this crisis in very different ways. You can react to the crisis by generating hatred, blaming the epidemic on foreigners, on minorities. You can react to the epidemic by generating greed. How do I make as much money out of it as possible? You can react by generating ignorance, inventing and spreading all kinds of ridiculous conspiracy theories. Bill Gates created this epidemic in a laboratory to take over the world. Or you can react by generating wisdom, believing science, realizing that in this time of crisis, you have to follow science, not these conspiracy theories. you generate not hatred, but compassion, finding ways to cooperate with people in your country and all over the world. Because, you know, the big advantage of humans over viruses is that we can cooperate in ways the virus can't. A virus in China can't give advice to a virus in the US about how to infect people. But doctors in China, in the US, and Israel and Brazil can come together, share information, share the results of their observations, experiments, in order to develop treatments, vaccines. And, you know, it's not just insights about the virus. It's also psychological insights, economic insights. Countries all over the world are facing the same problems. Why?
Hey, man. I don't know if y'all hearing what this man is saying to you or what this lizard is saying. So I'm going to slow it down and I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to come back because I'm about to go full Sam Jackson. What the lizard is saying, in context from this first video, let's start from the very first offensive thing he said, which was that you ain't got no damn choice. And he basically declared that the existence of the world is over and everything's going to go according to what he said. Then the lizard said, F God and whatever you believe in, you're going to have to accept that you are hackable. Then the lizard disclosed that, hey, they listed out everything that they got out of the, I don't know, whatever word we want to use for the shutdown. Excuse me. Then, now he's telling you how he anticipates and expects you to take advantage of it. So he listed out the ways that it could be approached. Now he's going into the ways that you should take advantage of, and he's telling people what they should do. And we talked, the first thing was Billy, and then next thing is, oh, you can go conspiracy, or you can go science, or you can go this, you can go this. Think about it for a second. To articulate things at this level, I mean, really just think. To articulate things at this level, the thought process that it would take to articulate, unless you're a prophet, which that's clearly not a prophet, that's clearly a lizard. Unless you are a prophet, you're not going to be able to articulate things at this level. This video is 2 years old. You're not going to be able to articulate things at this level unless you were a part of the planning of it. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Look, James Williams, the Stankonia ambassador. I'll be back. We're going to take a break before I go full Sam Jackson out here in these streets. I'm serious. I might go full Sam Jackson. I'll be back.